Hey guys, it's Marcus with Awareness Branding Consulting, and today's video is about 9 kick-ass brand metrics that are important to measure as you grow your business. Now, the 9 metrics I'm going to go through aren't necessarily all important, especially when starting off, because some metrics require you to be in business for a certain amount of time so you can have enough data, right? Because without data, how can you track things? Other ones are important from day one. And again, it's very important to be at least aware of the fundamental 9 metrics that we think are important when it comes to branding, so that when the time does come to track them, you're ready to put that into action. So on that note, let's get started. The first brand metric is Net Promoter Score. Basically, there's a formula for that where you can visit our blog actually at awarenessdigital.com/blog and go to our branding section, find the blog where it talks about the metrics, and it basically is a formula for how likely are people going to recommend you in the future and stuff. And having a high Net Promoter Score is very, very difficult, and it takes a lot of work. Being in the market, making sure you have incredible customer service, all the little details that go into the experience they provide your customers when they decide to do business with you. But keeping an eye on that will give you an indication of if you need to pivot or change certain things. The next one is purchase and buyer intent. So this metric basically is an indication of how likely people are going to buy from you in the future, right? Whether it's new business or even repeat business. In order to track this, it's very important that you fixate on the level of engagement to your social media platforms. Look at the sales time for existing clients, how long did it take for them to hire you for any services that you offer or your product, and then set certain benchmarks or certain standards for the ability to estimate, because you really never know with certain accuracy, but this can help give a perspective into forecasting or a potential outlook and what the likelihood of someone is that's going to buy from you in the future or repeat buy. Again, it's going to be a metric that is trackable from the day you get your first sale and the day you kind of implement your content, social media marketing strategy, right? Because you can look at the engagement and things like that. And then when people start to convert, you can define with a lot more detail what's realistic in terms of expecting future purchases from potential customers of your service and product. The next metric is brand recall. Basically, the ability for a customer or potential customers to recall your brand without really actively seeing your advertising, right? Again, this isn't a metric for a startup to really have high importance on, right? Don't spend too much time. This is for more established companies. It takes time, and I've said it in other videos, it takes on average 5 years, and that's if everything's executed well. It takes 5 years for a brand in its local area to become somewhat recognized, right? If someone hears the name or is just thinking about something that pops into their head, that's brand recall. Again, it's not worth tracking when you're first starting, but as you grow and as you become more recognized, it's a metric that you can begin to implement into your business and seeing what you can do to make it more automatic that people recall you without having to advertise as much, if that makes sense. But again, like I said, it's not a metric that is important when starting your business. It only becomes more important as you become more established in your area where you do business. So the next metric is brand uplift. Basically, how much value does your brand actually add to your company? Again, you won't know what this means until you get further along, but as you grow your business, it'll give you an indication if your name is good, if your marketing is good, if your branding's not good, if the experience is good. With that value that your brand provides, you'll be able to say that, oh look, people are buying because of the brand itself, because of the company, the experience, everything that's included when people deal with us, or they're buying because of a certain person, right? That's why it's important to really understand with this metric as you grow your business, if you at any time you maybe need to change the way you convey your message, if people aren't associating, if people don't tag you, for example, like in a post, and they don't tag your company name, but they're going to tag you individually, which isn't bad per se, but long term, you want your company to be known for the brand, right? Not you as a person, unless you're in a specific industry. So that's an important metric to keep track as you grow, as you implement your content strategy, social media strategy, Facebook ad strategy, paid advertising strategy. All these different things are important as you grow out your business, because again, it'll help you to figure out how you pivot, what to change, and you can make better decisions based on that metric. So this next metric I really like a lot. I think this is probably one of the more important ones, is brand sentiment, right? How do people feel about your brand? What negative or positive connotations do people have with their brand? How do you track that? That's easy. People on forums, boards, recommendations, reviews, right? So Google reviews, Yelp reviews, Facebook reviews, any review that you can get out there, any testimony, right? When people refer you, right? You get a chance to talk to your customer, or potential customer that was referred to you, why did you decide to contact me after after being referred? Did you do your research on this? Yeah, and getting feedback from the customers are going to help give you an idea, or even potential customers, of where your brand sentiment is. And then again, if you have bad reviews, bad messaging, people don't like doing business with you, that's a huge indication that your brand sentiment is negative, right? Whereas if it's on the contrary, it's positive. So we can always improve as people, even companies that have 5-star reviews. It's always important to keep benchmarking and keep pushing everybody internally to do even a better job, so that we can leave, or you can leave, we can all leave our customers in a better state than when before they met us. So I really love brand sentiment when it comes to that type of metric. The next one, again, isn't so important for startups, but it is as you grow. Brand market share, how much of the share do you own, right? I mean, you can talk big time, Apple, Microsoft, like these are big players that actually have provable data that shows they own X% of the market in their space, right? Again, it's not important for startups. Really, it doesn't make sense to track that until you actually get into the millions of dollars of sales, or if you're in a very tiny niche where there's very few players, and even if it's a small market, then I guess it's important. But again, this type of metric doesn't apply to startups, and it doesn't apply to companies until they hit the big leagues. So again, be aware of it. Don't get lost up on it right now. So this next metric, it kind of goes hand in hand with the last one. It's called total brand equity. It just measures how well liked your company is. Again, it kind of ties into sentiment, but it's equity itself. They're a little bit more complicated metrics. It's not important for startups, and again, it applies to larger companies. But how well liked is your brand in the nation, in your area, around the country, around the globe, right? Again, applies to bigger companies. Don't get caught up in the bigger metrics, but being aware, important. So this next metric is brand strength. I really like this metric, just like I do brand sentiment, because it really measures your ability as a company to emotionally connect with your audience, perform financially in market conditions, in current market conditions, and your ability to sustain in these conditions, right? So you can track that from day one. And if you use a pandemic as a good indication of how strong your brand is, then you're able to adapt and change when need be, right? How many companies went out in the pandemic? A lot. That means their brand strength was really, really poor. Brand strength, again, takes a lot of work. It takes time. But even for new startups that have weathered the storm from a pandemic point of view, the ones that did survive is because from day one, they had their why clear, they had the ability to pivot, adapt, they were able to clearly communicate their inspirational messaging, their why behind what they do, and that contributes incredibly to the percentage of how probable that the company will be around in tough times. And again, the more you can connect on an emotional level through storytelling, through captivating moments, whether it's through your marketing, your advertising, or just interaction with any of your reps or yourself in your company, the stronger it's going to build and reinforce your brand as a reliable place and trustworthy source to do business with, whether you're a service or product-based business. Last but not least, again, another one of my favorites is employee sentiment. So my top three are brand sentiment, brand strength, and employee sentiment. Like for me, these are the top three that we measure from day one, right? Again, that promoter score, how likely people are going to buy it, but you have to get customers first. But these three you can always track from day one, right? How happy are your clients, right? So employee sentiment, how happy are they? Are they content? It's super important to have very transparent and clear communication with your staff, with your team members. Create an environment where people can openly come to you and say, hey, look, I feel this way. I think we should do this, we should do that. Actively ask them how they feel, because there's a big issue that has happened in corporate America where there's lots of fear-based management, right? And again, this video isn't about management, fear, and whatnot, or leadership. That's for a different video. But you as a leader have to take it into plan of action and actively seek out comments and feedback from your employees, right? How are you feeling? What do you like? What don't you like? Because again, a lot of people come from corporate worlds or even other small companies that was fear-based management, and it doesn't allow them to express their feelings because they're scared they'll get fired. Maybe they need the job because if they lose it, they could be in the street, and you don't know what people's situations are. So that's why as a leader, as a CEO, it's absolutely imperative that you take the time to, whether it's once a week, once a month, depends on your relationship with your employees, to extract how they feel. Ask them the right questions and then gauge on what needs to change, because if your employees aren't, or employees, team members, however word you want to use, aren't content or happy with what is happening, and you're unaware of it because they don't speak up and you don't ask, your company will suffer long term. You'll have turnover, there'll be stagnant growth, and just a plethora of headaches that you want to avoid moving forward. So again, hopefully this short, quick video was insightful to brand metrics. It's a boring topic for sure, but it's important. Metrics, data aren't the most enjoyable part to running a business, but they are essential so you can make immediate, fast decisions. You can adapt quickly to market conditions. You can weather the storms, and you can be around for the long term. Again, my top 3 when coming out the chute are brand sentiment, brand strength, employee sentiment, and then shortly after, like, net promoter score and then purchase and buyer intent. Those are the ones that I would focus on the most when starting out, and then as you get bigger, you can include the other ones. Again, thanks for taking the time to watch the video. Like and subscribe to our channel. We respond to any comments left in the section, and we deeply appreciate everybody that takes the time to watch our videos. We'll see you next time. Thank you.